Namaste students, my name is JVS Dr. Neeraj Bholia, Faculty of Agriculture and Veterinary Science, Jayoti Vidyapeeth, Women's University, Jaipur. So in this lecture, we are going to study about the characteristics of the stem cells. And this belongs to the subject medical biotechnology. So let's start. So as we know that stem cells are basically the cells, then why they are different from the normal cells? So stem cells, as their name suggests, that stem means which can have the base of the whole tree. Okay, so the base of the human is the stem cells, like that the stem of the plant. It can grow the whole organism. Okay, so there are few characteristics which makes the stem cells different from the normal cells. So the stem cells differ from other kinds of the cells in the body. All stem cells, regardless of their source, they have few common properties, and that makes them the unique properties. And on the basis of them, we can say that yes, this is the stem cells, or not. No, this is not the stem cell. Okay, so they are capable of dividing and renewing themselves for a long period. They are unspecialized and they can give rise to the specialized cell types. Okay, so we will discuss one by one the properties or the characteristics of the stem cells. So the stem cells are capable of dividing and renewing themselves for a long time. So as the other cells like the muscle cells, blood cells, nerve cells, which generally do not replicate themselves. Okay, the muscle cells and the heart cells, and the blood cells which do not have the nucleus, nerve cells which do not have the capacity to divide itself. Okay, stem cells may replicate many times, and that they can proliferate, they can divide. So the starting populations of the stem cells that proliferates for many months in the laboratory can yield millions of cells. So it theoretically they have the indefinite capacity to divide. Okay, so if the resulting cells continue to be unspecialized like the parent stem cells, the cells are said to be capable of long-term self-renewal. Okay, and with that property only we can say some cells that it is a stem cell. So the researchers are asking they are trying to understand the fundamental properties of the stem cells that relate to their long-term self-renewal. So why the embryonic stem cells proliferate for a year or more in the laboratory without differentiating, while the most of the adult stem cells cannot? So what are the factors in living organisms that normally regulate stem cell population, stem cell proliferation, and the self-renewal? Okay, so for these questions, this may make it possible to understand how the cells proliferate and the normal embryonic development, or during the abnormal cell division that leads to cancer. So understanding of these aspects may be possible while we get the answer of these questions. So the information like that questions would also enable scientists to grow embryonic and non-embryonic stem cells more efficiently in the laboratory. So the factors which and the conditions that allow stem cells to remain the unspecialized are of the great interest for the scientists, and it is a question to solve the answer. So it has taken scientists many years of trial and error to learn to derive and maintain the stem cells in the laboratory without them spontaneously differentiating into specific cell types. Okay, So scientists must first understand that the signals that enable the non-embryonic, or we can say the adult stem cell population, to proliferate and remain unspecialized before they will be able to grow large numbers of unspecialized adult stem cells in the laboratory. So the quality of the stem cells is one of the quality is the that they are the unspecialized, or we can say that they are immature. Okay, so one of the fundamental property of the stem cell is that it does not have any tissue specific structures that allow it to perform the specialized functions, as most of our body cells are the tissue specialized. Okay, for example, our skin cell is different from other cells because they are specialized to function in the skin organ. Our liver cells, our heart cells are differentiated themselves in that specific organ, and they are performing the functions according to that organ. Okay, so they are different. The heart cells and the liver cells, the skin cells, all the mature cells are specialized type of cells, and they are different from each other. The stem cells cannot work with its neighbor to pump the blood through the body like a heart muscle cells, and it cannot carry oxygen molecules through the bloodstream like the RBCs. However, the unspecialized stem cells can give rise to that specialized cells, including the heart muscle cells, blood cells, and nerve cells. Okay, so they themselves are unspecialized, but they can produce these specialized cells. Okay, so that is the property of these stem cells, means they are the seed-like structures. So seed in the plants that can produce the whole plant. So that's why the stem cells can produce any type of the cell. Okay, so the stem cells can give rise to the specialized cells. That is the second function or second quality of the stem cells. Okay, so when unspecialized stem cells give rise to the specialized cells, the process is known as the differentiation. Okay, so while differentiating, the cell usually goes through several stages and becoming more specialized at each step. So scientists are just beginning to understand that the signals inside and outside cells that trigger each step of the differentiation process. So the internal signals are controlled by a cell's gene, which are interested across the long strands of the DNA and carry coded instructions for all cellular structures and functions. Okay, the external signals for the cell differentiation include the chemical secreted by the other cells. It may be the physical contact with the neighboring cells and certain molecules in the microenvironment. The interaction of the signals during the differentiation causes the cell's DNA to acquire epigenetic markers that restrict the DNA expression in the cell and can be passed on through the cell division. Okay, many questions about the stem cells differentiation remain. For example, are the internal and the external signals for differentiation similar for all kinds of the stem cells, or can specific sets of the signals be identified that promote the differentiation into specific cell types? So like that, many more questions are still remaining, and because there are many types of the stem cells, so embryonic stem cells are there, the adult stem cells are there. Okay, so adult stem cells typically generate the cell type of the tissue in which they reside. Okay, for example, a blood forming adult stem cell in the bone marrow normally give rise to the many types of the blood cells. So it is generally accepted that a blood forming cell in the bone marrow, which is called a hematopoietic stem cell, cannot give rise to the cells of the very different tissue such as the nerve cells in the brain. Okay, so what controls them? Why the one adult stem cell cannot produce the different types of the cell? Okay, so experiments over the last several years have proposed to show that the stem cells from one tissue may give rise to the cells types of a complementary different tissue. So this remains an area of great debate within the research community, and this controversy demonstrates the challenges of the studying the adult stem cells and suggests that the additional research using adult stem cells is necessary to understand their full potential of the future therapies. So that is about the stem cells characteristics. Okay, so in this lecture we studied that what are the various characteristics of the stem cells, and like that the three general property or three important characteristics of the stem cells. They are the capable of dividing, means the continuous or the infinite cell division can be possible in the stem cells. The stem cells are capable to renew themselves. Okay, so that is only the property of the stem cells for the long time. And third one is that they are the unspecialized, or we can say that they are the immature cells, unspecialized cells, and they can give rise to the various types of the mature cells. Okay, so one precursor cell or one stem cell can produce the precursor cell that are the descendant of the stem cells, and the precursor cells further may differentiated into the various types of the specialized cell types. Okay, so that was all about the stem cells. So hope you are satisfied with this digital session, and if you have any doubt, any query, you can write in the comment box. And this session is powered by digital version 2, Jyoti Vidyapeeth Women's University, Jaipur. Thank you.